Hello, everybody. It is I, Juniper Blue Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, Master Healer, and Divine Guide. I am the one who brought about the Ascension. Okay. I did this for the last almost 4 years now. It's taken me to do it. It was quite painful, but quite beautiful nonetheless. It's very real what I speak of, and I do have all the proof of what I say. The coolest part about it is like it's beyond what our mind can comprehend, right? And that's the reality in which we find ourselves in today, all across the globe. All right. And the moon right now is a focus, big time. Okay. So check out my channel. I encourage you to like and subscribe and stick around and check out the workshops, because the coolest thing is it happened through me and to me by clearing Mount Shasta, raising Atlantis, activating Fiji once again, returning the triangle with the eye to where it belongs, activating pyramids all over the globe, fixing the sun and the moon was reborn. So I did Mount Shasta part 2 recently. There's a lot more than that too. I dried up the Nile after turning it blood red when the angels put my feet in the water. These all happen during workshops, okay? And the way spirituality works and the way energy works, period. Even when manifesting, it doesn't matter what you're doing. We put it out there and it boomerangs back. That's the way reality works in general. Karma, everything, right? Everything we put out there, everything we say is a ripple effect within the universal realm, within the energetic field. And so, you know, the way God works, the way the angels work, everything is I do something in the now and it affects you tomorrow. It affects you for the rest of your life. It affects you later today. It affects you moments from now, right? It's like a boomerang effect. That's why manifesting works. That's the way it works, and so on and so forth. Okay. Super important to understand that. I feel like, because I feel like sometimes we don't understand that. Sometimes that's because not everybody understands manifesting yet and things like that. And everybody assumes law of attraction is accurate. And it's just not so. How do we create our reality in which we want, you guys? Raise your vibration and call it forward. Okay. So many people like go against that energy, and it's super important to just be still sometimes. Okay. Your vibration is everything. And right now I'm taking a hit and I'm like, what's going on? And then if you haven't noticed, you guys, all over the globe, they are trying to get to the moon. Elon Musk was doing something about the moon. I think it's India finally got a little space probe to the moon. Russia tried to, and it crash landed. These do not have people on them though. Okay, because if you watch Mount Shasta, part 1 and 2 that are on my channel, part 2 was done recently, about a month ago, and it hurt very badly for me to do it because my DM did not show up. Now, this is also very relevant and important, okay? So we're going to continue to talk about today's outrage at the moon, peak understanding coming through. Okay, so I changed the moon. When I did Mount Shasta part 2, I didn't know if my DM was going to die. I've already lost one. That's not a joke. Okay, and they truly believe Jesus died. All right. Now, if you really know anything about history, Sekhmet and Horus are the god and the goddess of the moon. Sekhmet was one of my lifetimes. They said that when I cleared the Nile and I had to call my power back. Okay, that's when I learned that. I truly learned it when I started activating Ecuador. These were the around the equator line pyramid activations that my DM was in the energy with me doing, but he didn't physically show up again. Okay. So I have undone the false concept of the moon, the dark aspect of the moon. And if you watch the Truman Show, it's kind of relevant. That's what Spirit told me around that time frame. So I did. That was about 2 years ago, I think, on my channel. It's in my Ascension playlist, you guys. I undid the false dark pull of the moon. And when I did that, a satellite fell. And in that workshop, they spoke of the fact that they were listening in on you. And the next time somebody was going to go listen in, their ears were going to bleed. Okay, that's part of what I did. It's really there. That is in the very first workshop. You know what? I can show you, actually. So hang on. There's a reason I have done this way. Yo. So I'm going to really quickly show you. Okay. On my channel. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. in my ascension playlist, just so you guys know where to go to find this, okay? Because it's important. And everybody is so into instant gratification, and your phones and everything kind of create this scenario where we don't take time, right? And it's super important to do that at this time. It's super important to slow down. So yes, I freed Jesus's soul right in here. That happened like, I think 2020. This was clearing Mount Shasta part 1. Okay, very, very, very important. Then I went to Fiji, activated the pyramid there, and cleansed that portal, opened the portal of the gods. Now, this is relevant because Fiji part 2 is coming up on the 27th of this month, because the DM is supposed to step forward. He was many, many, many times. Malachi is holding the blue light right now. I don't know what's going on with the DM. Okay, everybody, I'm sure, does want to know as much as I do. I barely feel him at all anymore. So I'm not sure what's going on there at all. Okay, he was called forward several times on my channel, and my original DM died, and I don't know if this one did or not. Would I have felt it? Yeah, but I have felt some painful things as it is, so I'm not sure. Okay, so here was activating pyramid in Fiji, and I awoke up the God's portal. Then I did the sun ascension portal activation. Okay. One of these I went to like Lake Titicaca, and there was like something they took from the sun and put it in the earth, and I had to return it. Okay. Then this one's actually a really good one to do. It's a guided meditation, Lionsgate portal ascension pathway. It gets you on the path to ascension. Here's a guided meditation to eliminate the false negative pull in the dark energy of the moon. This one's very relevant. Okay. Then I undid the false concept of time. So the sun and the moon, and then the false concept of time. This is relevant. All right. These are what I have undone out of the collective soul. It's part of the ascension. It's part of correcting what was taken from us and what was commandeered from the earth, and so on. Just going to make sure that my volume is working. I do believe, testing, it's not showing the green in there, so I'm a little bit. Here's the microphone. Oh, good. It is working. Okay. So, okay. Good to know that is working. That makes me happy because it's not showing a green light. Okay, so then I started activating pyramids all over the planet. Okay, I took us into 7D. I undid the collective and individual shadow, which is what you must heal. All right. And then we did the return of Christ, the return of the gods. This was when God married me and my original DM before he died. The fall of the false goddess, info about the attack on my soulmate and I. This is what happened. I spent a whole year fighting for that. But you see, not a lot of people cared to watch. And it does break my heart a little bit. It's like, you guys don't understand the pain I went through, right? But then again, it's outside of our mind a lot. Okay. Twin flame reunion, new sign contracts, a king is crowned. This was my new DM after the first one died. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the ascension playlist, this was the day the DM died over a year ago. It'll be a year the 30th of August. Now this is relevant because on the 30th of August this year is a blue moon. It's a full moon, and we are doing a workshop for it. Okay, so I am doing something with the moon. I have to. All right, workshop live resurrection of Christ, uniting Jesus and Mary Magdalene and undoing the unholy grail. I did this one this last Christmas live on this channel. And this one is very important. I activated pyramids in Colombia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro, and I demolished the White House. And I also talked about Hawaii. I said I was worried about Hawaii being in its location. So those fires there with the power lines are very relevant because I rebuilt the whole crystalline grid underneath it. Okay. Sekhmet, see, this is where they had told me I was Sekhmet when I was doing Ecuador, which is right here. In this, they told me I was Sekhmet. Okay. Then after that came the Nile. All right. Here is Mount Shasta part 2. See, not a lot of people watch that one, so they may not understand what I'm talking about. But in this one, these are workshops. Okay. And in Mount Shasta part 2, you can find it in my playlist. They also talk about the Ankh and the truth about the Ankh, what the Ankh is and what the cross really was, how the cross was always false, and what it represented was them killing your God, which is what they did to Jesus, which is why they would hang him on a cross. He didn't die on a cross, you guys. He was poisoned by John the Apostle. Okay. So these are actually really cool things. They're very biblical. All right, we're back to me. Okay. So here we are back to the moon. Okay. When I did Mount Shasta part 2, and that one is very relevant. I returned the triangle with the eye. I completely cleared out underneath Mount Shasta. There was a fallen angel who everybody knows as Samael, or what some would call Lucifer, and he burned. Okay. And then I returned the triangle with the eye, and I moved the moon, and this figure 8 was going between the moon and the sun, right? That's what they took from us. That's what killed the gods. That's what removed all of the correct things from this earth. That's when they had to go outside of everything and build power lines, because they took our Earth's power away, which even Tesla would tap into. The crystalline grid was our Earth's power source. Okay. And that's what I rebuilt. When I did the Nile, there was one final dark crystal in the core of the earth that I took out, and I replaced with a light crystal. Okay. And this is why they say right now discipline is important for us, for star seeds, for light workers, for those that are truly connected to the light, because here's what's happening. Okay. When I saw that Russia was trying to go, Elon Musk is trying to go to the moon, India is trying, they're like racing for power. And I said that about Hawaii. I said, this is a power push. People think that they did Hawaii intentionally because they can't fathom what's happening right now. Hawaii was not set by darkness, but did darkness try to take power in the meantime? You better believe they did. So here's what's going on. People do not just accept their karmic fate, they fight it. Okay. So they know their power has been taken. They know they have none at this time. They know this. They're trying to fix that. They're trying to correct what has been taken from them again, because they're well aware of what they did to mess you all up. They're well aware of what they had to take on this planet in order to take God away from here. Okay. It was separate the sun and the moon gods, which is Sekhmet and Horus, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Adam and Eve. Those are all the lives I had to resurrect and clear out and call back Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And for some reason, the DM never steps up, and I don't know why. So right now we are a little vulnerable. DM is not protecting the moon or me. Okay. Malachi is holding that light. I don't know what's going on with the DM. I'm not making assumptions. I'm not saying anything bad about him. All right. People do not just accept their karmic fate. They fight it. We fight it instead of clearing our karma and accepting, oh shit, I caused this to happen to myself. No, I'm going to fight it. I don't want to stop this. I don't want to leave this. I don't want this to end. Okay. And so they're trying to first, I think they're trying to figure out all of what happened. But that's what they're saying is peak understanding is coming through. Outrage at the moon, peak understanding is coming through. People do not just accept their karmic fate. They fight it. Rage turns to hate, then destruction amongst their own kind. DM is not protecting the moon or me. They are trying to fix the surface issue. They know what they did. There has been undone. They know what they did there has been undone. Structures are collapsing, and they are trying to fix this. Okay, so it's that last stitch effort to regain their power and control. And I said that too after Hawaii did what it did, the fire there. And it is sad a lot of people died, you guys, but what we have to understand is as we go forward, a lot of people will not stay here. Because either they can't make it through the portals that I created, and I talk about that. Okay, Revelations 21:12 talks about that. I talked about that when I did the Nile. And then shortly after that as well, I talked about the crystalline grid and what they undid with Mount Shasta, and how Mount Shasta was very dark and very fake and filled with dark light. And if you are spiritual and you did any kind of like retreats or healings at Mount Shasta, it's super important to clear that out from your energy, because if you don't, you will be anchoring it into it at this time. And I even put that on my Facebook, and people didn't watch the videos. They just left. And I'm like, that's sad, because I know what that means. Okay. But unless you start healing, it's hard to see clearly. Unless you're in balance, it's hard to see clearly, right? And so people just take things at face value and run. And then that's also part of what they're doing. Why all of this rush to the moon is going on right now. Now, here's the thing. The other day on my YouTube channel, I had to redo the Merkaba because I have a new DM. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's the same new DM or a whole other one. I don't know. The second one, I didn't pick, God picked him. Okay, I didn't know him at all. I never even got to know him. He never stepped forward, and he was supposed to right away. So I don't know if it's still him or if it's somebody else now. I have no idea. It's tiring. I'm like exhausted from it. And so I really just do my best to not think about it and feel into it at all. This whole entire journey I did by myself, unfortunately. Okay. And it was supposed to be me and the divine masculine doing it. So I want you guys to consider that. Are we out of balance somewhat? A little. But we're doing Fiji part 2 on the 27th. And that is to fill it with blue light. Okay, it's just to correct some balance. And we're also going to activate the God portal, which I've already activated. So what I mean by that is we're going to walk amongst the gods. Then on the 30th, we have this blue moon, and Spirit wants me to do something with the moon. I don't know exactly what it is. It is a workshop I am doing on the 30th. I think I'm doing it at 4:44 p.m. But this is relevant because it's a blue moon. And then right at the same time, they're trying to go to the moon. And then moving forward through my Patreon membership, every month we will be doing stuff with the sun and the moon. Every month we will be manifesting, healing, aligning, and in full power capacity with the sun and the moon throughout the month, because that is your new earth. Okay. This is also what shortened lifespan was them messing with. They fucked it up. They messed with the moon and the sun. And that's what messed the entire planet up. Now, if you notice, the sun flares coming in. If you watch my videos, I did that. Each workshop I do, I like create like this fountain of the sun to the earth, and it just like pours in. And then we have all these solar flares, and then we have all these earthquakes. And when you watch the work that I do, you're like, and if you actually truly just watch it with an open heart, you can see, spiritually speaking, I pulled these things through. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot to process, but it's real. This is why DMs are all suffering across the board. Okay, we're all connected. So all masculines are connected to the moon. They should be. And that of the sun. We should all have feminine and masculine within us, or if we're twin flames, it's outside of our bodies, right? I'm the feminine aspect. My DM should be the masculine, or what everybody would call Jesus. They do think that he's gone. Again, I don't know what's happening with the DM at all. I really don't. I do know one's alive, or I wouldn't be here. Okay. He's alive, and he's awake, and he's aware. And that's what Spirit's telling me right now. And it's the same one. Okay. That's what they're telling me. So I've only had 2 DMs, not 3. They keep reiterating that. So it's the same one. He's alive. He's aware. Okay. But they're trying to fix the surface issue. They know what they did. They know what they did there at the moon has been undone. So you know how they said they did the landing in like the 70s with Armstrong and all that, yet it was always very strange why it never happened again, why nobody else ever did it. And then there has been proof that there's strange things on the moon. Well, they did something to it. Okay, they have separated the sun and the moon. They moved it. It would block the sun a lot because the sun has DNA activations and things. And so they kept you away from God. And that's how they did it. Back to Sekhmet and Horus. Horus was the god of the moon, and he was killed by Thoth. And then Sekhmet was killed. That's why they talk about her blood rage and then the river of red. And when I went through the Nile portal, the Sekhmet portal, it was the same thing. I couldn't allow sabotage to come through. Okay. So all this does really line up, and it's very, very, very relevant. Now, last Sunday I did a live, and we rebuilt the masculine Merkaba. If you guys are not receiving these things, you're not ascending at this time. Okay. You're not where you need to be. These are important. It doesn't matter if you're masculine or feminine. We must align to the new DM. So on the 30th, they're also doing something about since it's been reborn on Mount Shasta part 2. What day did I do that one? Mount Shasta part 2 was done on the 22nd of July. Just a month ago yesterday. Okay. The moon was reborn. God had put through, a new king was born. All right. And so there's no coincidence that ever since then, there's all these attempts to get to the moon. Even Elon Musk is trying to get to the moon. And I've said before, he is not really of the light. He had karma to clear, but I don't see him doing it. And didn't this say that? It's like people do not just accept their karmic fate, they fight it. And in the end of days, in the end of ways, when I cleared, which one was it? Mount Kilimanjaro, Colombia, and Congo, and I demolished the White House. In there, I said how Bill Gates was going to have to feel what he put out. He's going to suffer. They have to play out their karma in the end days. Okay. And so this is the beginning of that. You're going to start see everybody's karma play out. Then rage is going to turn to hate, and then destruction amongst their own kind. Okay. Now they also said, oh, congratulations to the last member that I walked through the gates. So the people that have been doing, I've told you I hold the keys to the entrance into heaven, into the new earth. Because I created the portals, I activated the portals. That is what all of the things that I were doing. That is what I was doing. Every pyramid activation, all the portals were me activating them, clearing out the shadow and opening them and closing out the shadow part. Okay. Now, everyone, I did the animals and I talked about the gates. You push them through, and if there's karma or their DNA is damaged, they get kicked back. So if you have shadow in your heart, your DNA is damaged, you get kicked back. You have to heal it so that you can go through. Okay. When we are playing out our karma, they don't really want to. They want to fight it. They don't want to play out that karma. I also blocked all their bunkers. I talked about that when I demolished the White House. Okay. I said they have escape plans, they have bunkers, but I blocked them all. And so people do not just accept their karmic fate, they fight it. Rage turns to hate, then destruction amongst their own kind. DM is not protecting the moon. So recently, I've been beginning to walk people through the gates. Finally, I got to go through the gates at the same time my other graduate just Saint got to go through the gates, and she's the one that I had live as a guest on Sunday, and then we did the Merkaba rebuild and healing, and she brought some beautiful healing through as well. So her and I were the first ones, and Amy H got to go through recently, and then so did Gabriella. Okay, so we have 4 people now that have crossed the gates, and as I did that, they literally said that we won't watch all of this destruction like everybody else will have to. Our vibration should rise so high. The things that we experience should be separated from that. So some people will suffer while other people seem to not at all. That is karma. Okay, for those that have cleared their karma, they don't have to deal with it. The return of Christ is the ascension. And that's what karma is, right? And so when I pushed the animals through the gates, it was so incredibly interesting to see that. I did that with a few of my people. We did it together, and I pushed the animals through, and then they would get kicked back. I saw certain ones that they like created, they made from like petri dishes, and they had no souls. I had to eliminate those. They could not make it through at all. Then there were others where they manipulated their DNA, and I got to heal that. And in that one, I said they're going to expose labs, and sure enough, they did right away. There was a lab found in California shortly during that time, about the same time, where they found the vid, herpes, and a whole bunch of other quote unquote diseases. And I'm sure people are like, oh no, they were just testing it out for the vaccine. Like, I don't know, I'm sure people have their own theories, but it's all right there in front of your face that all that was man-made. And all these animals were dead, and they were trying to blame it on China, but actually the addresses didn't even exist in China. And so the proof is there. It just depends on what reality you're able to tune into at this time. Okay. So with what Spirit is saying, we have outrage at the moon, peak understanding is coming through. All right. Now I have my latest deck. It is an ascension portal deck. Okay. This was created as I was finishing up the Nile. This was being completed. There's no coincidences, right? To why Spirit had me put this through. This is messages from the gods, ascension, portal, healing messages by me. Okay, so that's what this deck is about. So let's see what the ascension is at right now, what Spirit has to say for us for the ascension. And you guys, if you're a DM and you're high in the DM side, take your power back. Don't wait on the DM to fix it for you. Take your power back, do the healings, do the portal workshops, do whatever you need to do. Heal your shadow, heal your karma, and let's get you through. Because like I refuse to let somebody stop us, especially somebody who was supposed to be in the light, right? I don't know what's happening there. I have nothing but love for him. I don't know what's happening. I just don't want anybody to suffer. I don't want anybody to miss their marks. Purge Mount Shasta. Get rid of the darkness. Let's call our power back and know that you are in charge, my friends. You are in charge, okay? Everything is layered. Colors, emotions, gestures, expressions. Nothing is really simple, but it is at the same time. What that means is there's so much to everything. You know, they say so beyond what meets the eye. That's the work that I do, right? It's so layered, it's so intense, it's so much that you have to process it. You can't process it here through analyzation. That's like a computer component. It's in your heart, because that's where God is. Okay, that is where it's felt, that is where it's processed, and that is where it is most understood, is by getting out of your head and getting into your heart. Okay, and then this is what's happening in the ascension now. We're going into the phase of destruction. So just like they said here, outrage at the moon, peak understanding coming through. People do not just accept their karmic fate, they fight it. Then rage turns to hate. So you can kind of see they're going against each other. Then destruction amongst their own kind. Okay, they are trying to fix the surface issue. They know what they did there has been undone. Structures are collapsing, and they are trying to fix this at this time. Destruction brings beautiful changes. Power to rearrange spaces. And this goes right along with, somebody did a channeled message for me one time on who I was. This was before I really found out all the details for who I was. And they said that I was here to bring powerful destruction for repair, but in God's light, right? Like I was here to bring major destruction and carnage. Basically, I don't think they used the word carnage, but it was like to take down the infrastructure to rebuild the correct one. And we must let that happen. All right. Destruction brings beautiful changes, power to rearrange spaces. So sometimes when things fall apart, are they really falling apart at all? Okay. So the more you're in your karma, the more you're going to experience the destructive aspect. The more you're healed, the more you're going to experience happiness and beauty and joy and abundance. Okay. Because it's not the end of the world for everybody. And I'm also noticing other people who are supposed star seeds and things. They're like, oh, is this the end of the world? Like you can tell who's connected, you guys, and who really isn't all the way. Okay. Like seriously. So just make sure what you're paying attention to. Make sure that you're in your own power at this time. Okay. If you have karma to heal, just heal it. Like they said, most people don't want to accept their fate. They don't want to, they don't want to realize that they caused it to themselves. Then rage turns to hate, then destruction amongst their own kind. That's kind of how things are going to fall out. Religion, all of that has got to go, because I undid it all. If you watch my workshops, we undid it all. Okay. The ones who went through the gates with me are ones who helped me undo those things. Just Saint talked about that. She was in the Vladimir bloodline for clearing Catholicism where it went bad. Gigi, she helped clear a lot of some of the shadow pieces as well through like Poseidon's bloodline. You guys, these things are very real. And I'm so very proud of them. When I walk them through the gates, it's one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. And I give them their key. The key comes, I measure their heart space, their karmic contract disintegrates, they get a blank slate, and I put them through the gates. It's beautiful. Okay. I encourage you to watch these videos because knowledge is power. You'll know what to do. You'll know what's coming. Okay. Because I know Not everybody gets to stay, but if I had a choice, I would allow everybody to come, like, come on, like, I'm going to keep doing this. Come on over. Heal yourself, heal your shadow, clear your karma. All right. So right now it's about outrage at the moon, peak understanding coming through. Okay. They're starting to be backed into a corner and they can't escape. Structures are starting to crumble, and they will continue to crumble right before our eyes. These are big shifts that we are at some level not ready to handle. All right. So are you ready? Can you handle these and not crumble? Not go into fear and go, oh my God, we're all going to die? We're not all going to die, but some people are, and there's nothing we can do. Okay. The only thing you can do is worry about you. Are you clearing your karma? Is your heart open and pure? Do you go into judgment? Do you run when your shadow rises, or do you use it to heal it? Do you see what I'm saying? Can you see the light, or are you knee deep in your shadow? Do you want to run from truth, or do you want to walk right into it? It's up to you. So very, very, very important workshops coming on the 27th. We have Fiji part 2. If you want to partake in these, please do, because it's the portals you must go through. All right. To heal in the portals, to be able to do it with the one that created them, that's a blessing in truth, but it's totally up to you. And then on the 30th, we are doing something with the moon. Now, next month going forward, it will be through the Patreon healing that I'm always doing something with the sun and the moon. It should be me and my DM putting that forward and allowing everybody to continue to align with the gods. Okay. So much love to all of you. Have a very beautiful day, and I will see you again soon.